This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Let's get into some high school football with Nate Olson from Scorebook Live. Hi, Nate. What's going on today, man? How are you?
Boy, it's a beautiful Tuesday here, and just trying to get some energy out. Friday night and a trip to Mississippi to watch soccer kind of has this old man a little tired. But trying
you've been all over the place.
A little coffee this afternoon. I'm getting old for this, and was able to listen to your broadcast on the way down to Mississippi. So thank you for entertaining me on the way down.
You've been all over the place, man. I mean, you've been in St. Louis for Cardinals Cubs. You've been covering high school football, of course. You're going on the radio. You're in Mississippi for soccer. I mean, when are you ever home?
Yeah. Not much during the fall, and it's a lot of fun. But I can tell that I'm a little older than I was last year. But I'll be ready Friday night. We'll put it that way.
Good.
but yeah, I'm trying to just kind of lounge around a little bit today and study up on some of these matchups. But it was a good week last week, and this week's going to be a little lighter because it's actually the fourth week when you go with zero, so a lot of teams are on byes. But we'll talk about a few of them here in a minute.
Well, give me the first one you want to talk about. Why don't we do Fort Smith Northside against Fayetteville?
Yeah, that was last week. Just to recap that one, I wanted to recap a couple, but Fayetteville, they're off this week. They'll play the conference opener against Bentonville West next week. That'll be a home game. That'll be the SB Live Northwest Arkansas game of the week next week. But in this game, Northside is a very good team, I think, and probably moves up the pecking order a little bit in the Central with what has looked like a little bit of a falling off by North Little Rock. But Fayetteville takes care of them 42-21. Christian Setzer runs for 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. Drake Lindsey has really looked good so far, taking over for Bladen Fike. And that was one of the question marks. But Lindsey comes from that great stock. He's had a couple, I think one brother at least, that's played at Fayetteville. And then, of course, we know what his grandfather and everything has done. Great player for the Hogs. And he's 21, was in that game, 21 of 25 for 256 and 3 touchdowns. So offensively, Fayetteville really looking good. And probably right now, if you do a power ranking, we talked about it on our podcast, that they're probably number 2 next to Bentonville, but Bentonville's given up a lot of points. So the gap there probably is narrowed, and then behind them is Bentonville West. So that game next week will really loom large as a conference opener. But Fayetteville's doing the right thing so far. Lost to Cabot, then after that, but played well, and then after that, two wins. So they're looking good early on.
What do you make of Lake Hamilton, man? I mean, they came up with a huge victory against Little Rock Christian, get Mountain home this week, and things are looking really good.
I like Lake Hamilton a lot. Tommy Gillerin, I've said this on the podcast too, that he's not only a great coach, but he's the kind of guy that you want your kids to play for. He's an FCA guy. Is a very good person, and his program is a class act, and they do a run oriented wing T type offense, and it's effective. But also last year at the end of the year, they kind of went through a funk, and so Easton Hurley is a quarterback that can pass the ball, and so they've incorporated that into the offense, and that has helped them a lot. And Little Rock Christian, I definitely, I like Lake Hamilton, but I would have picked Christian in that game just because Walker White, the 4-star quarterback who recently visited Arkansas, is on fire. He was really on fire. They cooled him off a little bit. They've got a good defense. Justin Crutchmer is probably one of the most versatile players in the state. He plays everything, linebacker, running back. He returns kicks. He returned a kick 90 yards for a touchdown against Jonesboro. He had 242 all-purpose yards and 3 touchdowns. And a guy that probably is one of the leaders in the clubhouse for Athlete of the Year with what he does in football. If he does in wrestling what he has done, he's a 3-time state champion. So take what he's done in football so far. If he does that in wrestling, one of the great athletes and one of the great complete football players. But big feather in the cap of Lake Hamilton because that's a conference opener, and that was one of the games that you looked at, but you would need to win to be in that upper echelon to win a championship. The other two are Greenwood and Pulaski Academy. So you've got one down and two more probably contenders to go, which shows you how difficult a conference that is.
Mm-hmm. Now, you got a few out-of-state matchups. Let's start with Bentonville going all the way to Kansas City to play Rockhurst. What kind of matchup is Bentonville in for?
Well, this is going to be a good test. Rockhurst is 1-2, but their losses, you've got to look at that. Raymore Peculiar, which is a suburban KC school right on that south edge of town there. They're in the top 10 in the SB Live Missouri rankings. They narrowly lost to them. It was a close game. And then they lost to Liberty North, who is number 2 and undefeated. They lost them 10-7, and then they beat Blue Springs South pretty handily. So they're a good team with some quality losses, 1-2, but I think certainly a very formidable opponent, and you're playing them in Kansas City, and they want to get a win. I mean they're disappointed about how they started off. It's a tradition-rich power, so Bentonville's going to have their hands full. One of the guys to watch out for Rockhurst is actually an offensive lineman. His name is Andrew Sprague, 6'8", 250. That's kind of a guy that, he can add to that frame, but he's already a Power 5 kid as a junior. He's got an offer from Auburn and Iowa State, among others, a guy that will put on good weight. He also plays basketball, so he can move. That's somebody for Bentonville to kind of look out for, and they've got a decent quarterback. Their front seven on defense is really good. They held Liberty North, who's got a really good running back, kind of in check. So that is not great news for Bentonville's offense. Josh Ficklin is an Illinois State commit recently, running back, and you've got Carter Nye, a junior quarterback who's played well. I think he's going to have to play well in this game and throw the football. And then Joey Stua, he's the Razorback commit, one of the top offensive linemen in the country. This is going to be a big test for him with that front seven. He has to anchor that offensive line and help those other guys to neutralize that front seven of Rockhurst.
Mm-hmm. Also got another Arkansas-Oklahoma high school matchup with Harbor Wildcats going over to Mustang, Oklahoma. How do you see the Wildcats faring in that?
This is going to be another tough game for them. And they played Parkview, then they played Bixby, Oklahoma, who is like close to, over 50 games winning streak over there. They're the number 1 ranked team in the SB Live Oklahoma poll. Now you play Mustang, who's number 8. They've got a wide receiver named Jacoby Johnson, who's a wide receiver DB, really big-time player. But this is another good program. Chris Wood has stacked this non-conference schedule, and frankly, haven't had probably as much success as he would like. In the Parkview game, they had them, playing well into the second or in the third quarter, and then Parkview broke it open a little bit with a kickoff return. They lost 59-0 to Bixby, and that wasn't a good loss at all. But they're hoping they can go over here and have a good showing. They've got some talent on offense. And we've talked about before, Luke Buchanan is a good quarterback. He had a good game against Parkview, but Hudson Brewer, the running back, they're going to have to play a good game to be competitive in this. And I think the one thing you worry about is if you play a good non-conference schedule, it is good to get tested, but it's also good to have some confidence going in. And so you're looking for anything in this game to build on, to feel good about yourself, because the 7A West is always tough, and maybe not as tough this year, but it's still going to be pretty tough, and they want to do better in that than they have done. So this is a big game for them, I think, to come out and play well in.
We got a couple of texters. They haven't called, but they texted. They use their phone. Let's put it that way. Wanted to ask about Boonville versus Harding. Rematch of the 3A semis from the last 2 years. A big one.
Yeah, that'll be a good game. We'll have a photographer there, and there'll be some good pictures of that game and a little bit of an account of it. Boonville is always good. They're always good at home. They have not been able to solve Harding Academy recently, but nobody has. And they're the 3A state champions 3 years in a row. They move up to 4A this year. And I did a big feature on their kicker, Kyle Ferry. He's one of the most unique athletes I think I've encountered. I mean, he's the most unique kicker for sure. He's an all-conference basketball player. He was all-conference or captain on the golf team, and or all-state golfer rather, and a two-time all-state soccer guy. Kicked a 56-yarder last week, 2 weeks ago. So he's good, and they lost Cade Smith, the Arkansas baseball commit at quarterback. He decided not to play, but Owen Miller, a sophomore, has come in, and he's been dynamite. So they're now a contender in 4A. I mean, a lot of people are picking them to go far. They're 23rd in our SB Live poll right now. So they have not had a problem so far replacing some of the holes that they've filling some of the holes. And this could be a good game. It's always tough going to Boonville, and they've got some good players. They run that run-orient offense. So this is one we have circled that could be a good one, but Harding Academy really, really good again.
JW texted in. He wants your opinion on the Lamar Warriors. They've started out 3-0 and have a conference win too.
Yeah, Lamar is very good, and I think one of the maybe surprise teams last year, and this year is just kind of picking up where they left off, and I know that they'll be looking to try to win that league and make a run. We can talk more about them as the week goes on. We'll highlight some of their matchups for sure, but they're a good program, kind of have established themselves in the last couple of years, and last year they had a good year. And again, 3-0. You can't ignore that. And we will definitely highlight some of their matchups and talk more about some of their players in the next couple of weeks.
All right, Nate. Let's wrap it up with whatever's top of mind this next Friday. A game that we haven't touched on that you would like to talk about.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about Lincoln Christian at Shiloh Christian. I mean, this is a matchup of two really good private school programs that have in their respective states stand out. Lincoln Christian's number 10 in the SB Live Oklahoma poll ranking, and they've got a guy named Luke Milligan. He's a first-year quarterback, but he's really good. He fills in for one of the departing player that moved on to Florida. So he's filling some big shoes, but he's good. They pass the ball a lot like Shiloh. You've got this up-tempo kind of offense, and Shiloh's coming off a game where against Victory Christian, they scored more than 70 points. I think this could be kind of a shootout, but Lincoln Christian they didn't give up any points to Vian last week, and that's a good offensive team in Oklahoma. So this game's going to push Shiloh, but I think that after getting a bad taste out of their mouth with the Little Rock Christian loss, and Little Rock Christian, a really good team, 6A team, that they've kind of got the ship righted, and I think this will be a really good game, and it would be a really nice win for them if they can get it going into the conference season. But I think it'll be kind of a nip-and-tuck game and probably be a little higher scoring game than what Lincoln has seen the last couple weeks.
Is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. Bet online, where the game starts.